Throughout history, there have been some bizarre coincidences that have left historians baffled. From strange parallel events to odd occurrences, it seems as if life itself sometimes takes on an uncanny pattern of its own. In this video, we explore 5 of the most perplexing coincidences that have occurred throughout history. These coincidences will leave you wondering just what is at play in our world. 5. Stephen Hawking, Death Day. March 14, 2018, marked the day that one of the world's most brilliant minds, Stephen Hawking, passed away. His scientific contributions and discoveries will undoubtedly be celebrated for centuries to come. However, there is a strange coincidence surrounding his death that cannot be ignored. March 14th is also known as Pi Day, representing the mathematical constant 314. However, the coincidences don't stop there. It is also the birth date of another iconic physicist, Albert Einstein, and interestingly enough, it marks the anniversary of Galileo's death. These seemingly random coincidences have left many historians scratching their heads, as it's difficult to explain why 3 of the most significant minds in history would share such an auspicious date. Perhaps, as the saying goes, great minds do think alike. 4. The Lincoln and Kennedy parallels. 2 presidents. Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy are undoubtedly 2 of the most celebrated American presidents. Beyond their impressive leadership legacies, there are bizarre coincidences between the 2 that historians can't explain. First and foremost, both were assassinated by a gunshot wound to the back of the head. Furthermore, both died on a Friday before a celebration. Kennedy was assassinated on the eve of Thanksgiving, while Lincoln died right before Easter. Both presidents were accompanied by their wives and another couple when they were shot. Moreover, what's strange is that they both had best friends named Billy Graham. Even stranger, both Billys had 4 children, and both presidents had secretaries named after the other. Kennedy's secretary was named after Lincoln, and Lincoln's secretary was named after Kennedy. Although the coincidences don't stop there, both presidents' successors were vice presidents, named Johnson. And perhaps the freakiest coincidence of them all, Lincoln was shot in Ford's Theater, while Kennedy was shot in a Lincoln made by Ford. 3. Violet Jessup. Luck and coincidence. Luck and coincidence often go hand in hand, and Violet Jessup is the perfect example of this. Despite being on not 1, not 2, but 3 shipwrecks, she managed to survive them all. She worked as a nurse and stewardess on the HMS Olympic when it was struck by the HMS Hawk, and she was on board the HMHS Britannic when it hit a landmine. And of course, she was famously on the Titanic when it sank. Though her lifeboat was almost brought down by the spinning propellers, Violet jumped out just in time and hit her head, but she still managed to survive and live until the age of 83. It's hard to imagine how one woman could be both so unlucky and so lucky at the same time, but Violet Jessup proved it was possible. 2. The Simpsons TV show. One of the longest-running TV shows in history, The Simpsons, is notorious for somehow predicting outrageous events. For example, they predicted that the President of the United States was going to be Donald Trump. This was a full 18 years before it happened. If you saw the segment with Donald Trump becoming president today, you'd probably think it was just another humorous, satirical TV show episode. However, how did they figure it out? With the program lasting for over 30 years, topics that appear in the show will ultimately materialize in real life. Perhaps. But they also prophesied a 3-eyed fish, a circus performer being assaulted in the middle of a show, and an Ebola pandemic. These coincidences happen so often that questions have been raised about whether they are psychic or secretly controlling events. These are just things we need to know, like right now. The Simpsons are truly remarkable in their ability to predict the future. 1. The Hoover Dam. Father and son. During the construction of the Hoover Dam, a total of 96 lives were lost. Among the casualties was J.G. or George Turney, who tragically drowned in the dam on December 20th, 1922. Fast forward 14 years later, on the same day, his son Patrick Turney met his demise. Patrick fell from an electrical tower and was the last reported death during the construction of the dam. It's a bizarre coincidence that the first and last casualties were father and son, and both happened on the same day. This coincidence has left many historians scratching their heads, wondering how such a strange occurrence could have happened.